Hey guys, welcome back to the code, not the Code Chronicles, this is Algorithm Sunday. Algorithm Sundays. So what I want to do today is actually explore the front end question that I did on the last Code Chronicles episode, on episode 53, I believe it is. What it is going to be, we'll say algo. It's a front end engineering question that I think is somewhat common. And I'm going to do it in React. I could do it in Vue if you guys want. Let me know. I could do it in Next. Just kind of whatever front-end framework you are competent in. I know that they actually want people to do it in, typically, I guess my experience was with just HTML and CSS and JavaScript. I will not be doing that because that will take a lot longer, but I am happy to do it if that is necessary. So let me pull up the link. Here's the link to the question, or what we need to build, right? So the build is, it's this front end 3x3 square on the left side with a red node within this 3x3 square, this yellow tic-tac-toe board, if you will. And then we have a controller on the right side, and this controller should control the square within these squares. So funny ad there, but so if I click right on this controller, it should move the red square to the right. If I click down, it should move it down. If I click left, it should move it to the left, so on and so forth, right? So it's this blue controller controls the red square within the yellow squares. I hope that makes sense, and that is what we are going to build today. So I think just quick and dirty, just way for me is going to be a Next application. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And let's just fly through everything. Boom, boom. Yes, TypeScript, all of that stuff. We want CSS, Tailwind. We do. I just went with all of my basic configs. So let me go ahead and launch this then. After we are up and running, let me run the dev. I'm going to go ahead and clear out. Well, I'll slow down. Let me pull up our deal here, and let me open up localhost, see all of the data from what me and a buddy are working on, but that is not what we want. So Algorithm Sunday should be there now. Let's go ahead and get our Next application refreshed. You just see all of the stuff we're working on without the CSS. Boom, there we are. So we just have a basic Next application. I'm gonna go ahead and initialize this, close the main, and we'll just say hello. So it should just be a blank Next application at this point. Let's see, boom, hello, there it is. And we are also going to go to the styles.css. Let me delete all this so it should revert to normal styling. Or not normal styling, but just get rid of the dark background. Not that it's a huge deal. It's truly not. I just want to obviously do this as accurate as possible, or roughly as accurate. We're not going to do the arrow keys. We're going to do something a little bit more interesting. So let me get the eyedropper here. I would recommend you guys getting an extension if you're a front-end developer, some sort of eyedropper. There's a lot. If you just Google front-end or Google Chrome extension eyedropper, I would highly recommend it because it's just an easy way to get colors on everything very quickly. So I'm going to say width full. And this is just going to be kind of our wrapper around the entire thing. So with full, justify center, item center should bring our hello into the middle of the screen. Not sure why it's not. With full, let's see, hello. And let me try this one more time. Background red, weird, min height screen. Okay. Oh, you know, I didn't have flex. Duh. Okay, so we just have a center now, just basic template to work with. What we want to do next is build both the yellow grid squares, this 3x3, if you will, and then we'll worry about the red square in a moment, but let's just build out the yellow squares. And then we also want to build out the controller. So I can kind of do two birds in one stone here. What I'm going to do is instead of building these out as divs, I'm actually going to, instead of having a square here and a square and doing something like this and then wrapping that with a grid, I am going to build an object here. It's going to be called const grid squares, and it is going to be an array full of objects. So we're going to have 3 6, 9, boom. So 9 objects within this array. And all we want to do within this array is say grid squares, not 0. We want to map through the grid squares, and we want to say square. And this div right here is actually going to be our squares. So this should be the yellow squares, right? Oh, yucky. Not yucky, we want yellow. So we're getting a red underline because we're not using a key here on the parent div within the mapped component. So let me go ahead and put a key there, and I just use the index, and boom. So you see, we now have 9 yellow, and they're actually background red. We don't need that. I'll just keep that an empty class name for now, but we have 9, and yellow's obviously spelled wrong, but we have 9 pieces being rendered here because we have 9 objects within our grid squares. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 right here. We could actually even pop the index in. It'll actually be index +1 because of the 0th position. So yeah, that should be all 9 of our squares. And let's go ahead and paint these squares now. So I'm gonna say background yellow. And again, we could actually do the color dropper and get the exact background we need for this. That's fine. Boom, here we go. Pick a color from the web page there. Let me go back to our eyedropper and copy that color down. Nice. And here we go. Boom, background, this color. We're gonna need borders as well. So that's actually the color we want. I can do a rough tape measurement as well. There's another extension on Google Chrome that I would recommend. Get some sort of page ruler or tape measure. And here we go. So they're about 84 pixels by 84 pixels. So again, just Google, say Chrome page ruler extension should pop that up. Page ruler, some sort of ruler. They all do the same things. And then you do the same thing for color eyedrop extension. Boom. There's a whole bunch to choose from. I've used a few of them. So don't think about it too much. Not a huge thing. But let's go ahead and do 84 pixels by width, 84 pixels, so the height and width, and boom, now we have all of our squares. We're going to get rid of the yellow within the deal. We don't need that anymore. And I'll just say border, and that should put a border around them. And let's do actually border black so we can see that border. Nice. Now the difference is here with our squares versus the squares here is this is a 3x3 grid. This is just linear 1x1. So the reason why it is because we're not doing any sort of flex or flex call. If we do flex, it'll go left and right. If we do flex and flex wrap, this will actually start to wrap when the mobile responsive view starts coming. So you see that. But what we actually want to do is grid and do grid calls -3. And what that's going to do is every 3 items, it'll start a new row. So if we did grid calls 2, every 2 items, it'll start a new row. But we just want a 3x3, so we'll do grid calls 3. So there's 3 items, boom, 1, 2, 3, starts a new row. And that's how to do that right there. And we'll work on the red node in a moment, but what I can do is build a controller as well. So either or. So the controller, I'll just do the same thing. We'll say controller squares, and I'll actually just copy all of this down here. Better yet, I'll build it into a component. So I'll say const yellow squares, and this will just be a rendered template component. So here we go, boom. Let me go yellow squares, and we just need to mount this function on the DOM. And here, oh, did not need to do quotes, and boom. So that should pop up there. Oh, get rid of that period, that threw a little error. And we basically just put our template in a function. It's no different than doing this, same thing. We just pop the function up here. Reason is it'll just kind of clean up our template down here. You don't have to do that, that's kind of extra stuff. Boom, I'll get rid of that little extra quotes thing, don't need that. And I'll just do the same thing for controller squares. So I could say controller squares, and I'll say yellow squares. These will be blue squares. And instead of grid squares, this will be controller squares getting mapped through here. And instead of BG, this yellow color, we're gonna need that blue color. So let me go ahead and grab that blue color real quick to our little eyedropper one more time. Boom. And where is it? this color, boom, boom, boom. Say BG, where was I? Right there. And awesome, we just need to mount that on the DOM and we should have now a blue square. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap these in a div and we're gonna organize them a little bit more. And obviously, you know, gap X, we'll say gap X full with full, justify center, items center. Actually, justify center should do it. Not overly concerned, but oh, they are centered. It was just the screen was cut off. So basically the difference is though with this controller on the right, we want smaller squares. So I'll say instead of 84, I guess technically we could, it looks about 2/3 of the original height. So what's 2/3 of 84? Let's just do the math real quick. 84 times point, roughly, what is it? About 55 pixels, 56 pixels. Okay, so we'll do that. So 56 pixels. Oh, here we go. We need this. And we'll say items start or items baseline, I believe is actually how to put items all the way down. Let's see. Nope, doesn't look like it's doing that. Start, no, nice. Okay, so items in did the trick. And we want to get rid of a few things. We want to add these arrows or some variation. I'm not going to add the arrows. I'm actually going to add a up and down word. And what we want to do is also get rid of those borders because that border doesn't belong to that blue square. So I'll just go ahead and get rid of that. And we just have our controller on the right. And it looks like the whole thing has a border though. Border black, I will do that. Boom. And yeah, guys, that's looking pretty similar. You know, obviously we could do some smaller tweaks, but that's pretty similar, right? Obviously the border width's just a little different, not a big deal, not overly concerned on it. And yeah, so let's maybe gap this out just a little bit more. That's fine, that'll work. And what I want to do with the controller squares is add a piece of data within my objects. So within each object, we want to have data in both the grid squares and the controller squares. So in the controller squares, I'll just start with text and I'll show you guys. So this will be text up for this area, right? Let me actually put the borders back. I think it'll make a little bit more sense. So if I say border and border black, we're gonna put a text within this, this up square, a text within the right square, a text within the bottom square, and then a text within the left square. So we should have like a D-pad by the end of it, right? If you saw episode 53, you should obviously, you know where this is heading. So within this, I'll say square and blue square. I'll open this up and put square.text. And you can see that this is where the text is going. So we just want to do that for all of these, but obviously put our appropriate namings in the right squares or remove the namings if there is not a name for that square. So I think this will do it though. And obviously you could change these to be icons or arrows. I think those are just as key arrows here. Matter of fact, we could probably do that. As key arrow. Let's see, boom. Yep, these are them right there. That's all we need. Boom. Not even a problem, guys. We'll just steal these. So let's just pop in the up arrow. How about that? And we'll pop in, oh, wait, which one was that? Oops, left. Okay. Almost messed that one up. And boom, we'll put in the right arrow as well. And finally the down arrow. So not a problem to do that either. And then obviously these are all offset to the div that they're in. So that's going to be this div here. We just need to do flex, justify center, items center. Boom, that should center everything. And then let's go ahead and get rid of those borders because they look ugly. So boom, now we have some sort of controller. I know that they did it all within this area, but we're going to build a controller a little bit better. And I would argue this is a little bit better. So finally, we're going to add one more deal to this CSS and say, boom. Let me put these backticks in there. And we're going to conditionally render if the square has text in there. We want to show this square as a hoverable square. So hover BG, we could say blue. We'll just pick one. And then else, no big deal. We'll put a empty sign there. So, or an empty string. Sorry guys, really trying to fly through this. So whenever we hover over them, I'm gonna go a little bit of a lighter blue. But whenever we hover over them, we can see, okay, that is clickable, right? And then another thing I'll do is add an active, and we'll do a similar thing. We'll just say BG blue 200. Maybe I'll put a transition, not a big deal. BG blue 200 active. Did I spell that right? It's not looking like it's clicking, right? Oh, I didn't spell active right. Nice. Okay, boom. So now we can see it clicked. Does that make sense, guys? So we can at least see the square being boom. Oh, that's going to be the same color, so that's not going to work. But boom, you can see the arrows being clicked. Now the last thing we want to do, or the last problem we want to tackle, is going to be that node, that red node. So this controller needs to, well, there's kind of two problems. One, three technically. So there's going to be, we need to paint the node on the canvas. Two, we're going to need to give this controller commands so it can move the node. And then three, we're going to need to put boundaries around the canvas so the node can't go off the actual yellow squares. So let's dive into those problems. The first problem is we're going to want to put a red node into the canvas. So I'm going to do that by, first of all, importing use state in Next. I put use client at the top of the screen because we are going to use state, and boom. So I'll say const red node and set red node, and this will be use state. What this is actually going to be is an X and Y coordinate. You can see our tab 9 is helping here, but it's actually going to be an X and Y coordinate, and it's an object. So this object will we'll use that to dictate where our node is. And how we're going to do that is put it on the board, but we also need to define where our board is with coordinates as well. So I'm going to show you guys a quick way to do that. So we're going to do a similar thing. We need X0 for the top left position. And then we also need Y0 again for that top left square. So that'll be this one. And then this one will be X1, Y0, X2, Y0. And then this will be X0, Y1, X1, Y1, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and erase these. It'll look like this, X1, X2, and this will be like this, and boom, and boom. So now all of our grids, they actually have a coordinate associated with them. Even though it looks the same, now within our yellow squares, we actually have access to a square.x value and a square.y value. So I'll show you what that roughly looks like real quick. So if I say square.x, say this is our x coordinate, and then if we have a y, we also have a square.y coordinate. So we can see, oh, this is the 0, 0th square, this is the 1, 0 square, this is the 2, 0 square, so on and so forth, right? So all we want to do is just match, if this red node is the same coordinates of x and y here as our square, just make it red. So let's do that. And how I want to do that is conditionally render some CSS. And I'll put these backticks here, and we'll say, let me see, we'll say, what is it? Red node dot x equals square dot x and red node dot y equals square dot y. If that's true, we want it background red. If not, we want that yellow background. So you can see how we're starting to chip away at that. Let me get rid of these x and y square coordinates within our grid. And let me close out this ASCII. I'm going to get the right color here. I'm sure it's BG. I'm sure BG like 400 red in Tailwind. I'm sure it is. But we'll go ahead and put the actual hex value here. So boom. That is our red square. And now if we change this node to X position 1, it'll move the square over. And then so on and so forth. Now we'll have to handle the controller if we have the coordinates go off here, but let's at least go to step 2 now. So step 1 was put the node on the canvas. Step 2 is now we want to build functionality where we click this and we can move the node. So I guess step 0 was setting everything up. Step 1 is that, and then step 2 is going to be that function case. And step 3 is going to be, we want to put borders around our little yellow tile, so the node doesn't go off the tile. So let's go ahead and build for that now. What I want to do is go to our controller. So our blue squares, our controllers here, our controller squares. I want to put an on-click value here. And this on-click value is going to be handle controller movement. Whichever thing it wants to be is completely fine. And I'm going to pass in the square text. By handle controller, handle movement, controller movement, red node movement, anything like that, feel free to name your variable as you want. Not too strict. So guys, I am going to close out this yellow square. We're kind of done using that. Beyond this, I'm actually going to collapse this blue squares as well. We're done using that. We will also collapse the grid squares. We are no longer using that. The last thing we're going to need is going to be this controller squares. And then finally, to build a function called handle controller movement. And this will be movement direction, or direction, whatever you guys would like to name it. And what this direction is in our blue squares, let me just pop this back open. It's going to be whichever arrow key that we click here. So let me show you guys movement direction. I'm passing it in. If I click this, I should see the up arrow. If I click the left one, I should see the left arrow. And we can't click these ones, empty string, empty string. So one way to do that is to put a guard clause. I think I can do something like this. Let's see if it'll work. I will say square text, meaning that the square must have a text. Otherwise, do not allow me to use that function. Or looks like that's not working. So looks like we can do a guard clause up here then. If movement direction equals empty, we will just return. So just a quick guard clause, so we can only click the arrow keys. Otherwise, if we click these empty squares, if you will, they don't work. So let's go ahead and now build a switch statement. So we want to say switch movement direction, and we want to say case and define every one of these arrows. So we just want to steal that text real quick, case boom, this arrow, and we want to do something. So if we click up, what we actually want to do is set our red node object. We want to say red node, we want to pass in X with red node dot, and we also want to pass in our Y with red node dot Y. And if we click up, we actually are going to minus and press 1 on the Y, because the lowest coordinate is 2. So if we press minus on Y, it'll go to 1 and then 0. So if I click up, it should go off, and it does because it's going to -1. So I'll even add real quick right here. I'll say current node position, so we can kind of see where the node is live, even if we're off the border. So boom, say red node, and should be this. And hold on, folks, one more. And red node Y, current node position. And let me just do a quick flex call. That should figure us out here. Boom, nice. Okay, so, and then I'll do a quick margin top 8, not a problem. So we can see the current node position is 0, 0. I click up, it is now 0, 1. Guys, we got interrupted by the girl. There she is. Baby, say hi. Hi. Knocked on the door, scared me while I was in the middle of doing the do. All right. So I'm gonna do my best, guys, to get back into the zone. I was talking about the node position of the controller. So when you press up on the controller, we're going to be able to get these cases, handle controller movement. Whenever we press this function, we're going to pass in each one of these arrows. And based on the arrow that we pass in, we want to move the node according to that arrow. Obviously do a break statement. And so I will just steal all of these. Let me do the y-axis first. And I want to set the node, similar deal here. Baby, I love that you're just over there, just watching. A little pressure, to be honest. But I want to set the node and put the Y position +1 when we press the down arrow, because the X and Y coordinates, the Y ones are going to be below. So if I could put those back on the screen real quick. Let's see here, square dot y. So obviously the more y distance we go is going to be low, and the x distance we go is going to be left and right. So based on the cases that we pass in with our left and right arrows, we also want to adjust those. So that's going to go here, and it's not going to affect our y, but we are going to affect the x. So if we press right, we want the node to go to the right one. And if we press the left arrow, we want the node to go left. So this should work. This should have fixed it all, and it did. The last and third final problem that we want to fix is just when the node is on the corners, we don't want it to go off the screen like how it is now. So we can see the current node position is at 2 and -1 y, or 3 in this position, 2 and 3. So anytime that x or y is -1 or 3, there is an issue. So what we want to do is, with the case of going up, if y is greater than, let's see, I want to say red node dot y is greater than, or excuse me, less than 0, we want to return, I believe, is what we want to do. Or less than 1. Let's see, there's gonna be a little trial and error here, and then I will wrap it up. Boom. So that worked on that direction. If red node y is less than -1, return. If red node y is greater than 2, return, I believe, or greater than 1. It's a little trial and error, return, let's see. And that works in that direction. And then finally, we just need to do the same thing for the left and right position. So, and then that would be it. So I believe that's it. If red node x is, let's see, greater than 1, return. And if red node x is less than 1, return. And I believe that is it, folks. I think that's the best way to tackle this problem. There you go, with the girlfriend and everything.
Great job, baby.
Thanks, baby. All right, folks, wrapping it up here. See you on the next one. Bye.